An advanced civilization creates multiple parallel worlds to conduct experiments and avoid making mistakes in the main world. One day in Moscow, Kirill wakes up in a police car. He looks out the window, trying to recall what happened to him. Soon, the police check on him and explain that they picked him up after a fight at a club but don't want to deal with him any further, so they let him go. Stepping out onto the street, Kirill unexpectedly receives a notification on his phone directing him to follow a certain route, but he seems confused about what it all means. We rewind 24 hours. Kirill's girlfriend, Anna, is chatting with her new colleague, Anton, in a car. He congratulates her on starting her new job and warns her that she won't be able to travel abroad for a while. Meanwhile, Kirill is planning a surprise for Anna's birthday. He bursts out from around a corner in a goofy costume with vacation packages in hand. Disheartened, Kirill decides to head to the office where his colleagues are celebrating the successful launch of his new game. After a while, the party starts to wear him down, so he leaves and heads home. However, upon entering his apartment, he finds an unfamiliar woman named Renata claiming to live there. The apartment has been transformed beyond recognition, and his dog is barking at him as if he were a stranger. They call the police, and with the help of the neighbors, they sort through the apartment's paperwork, which turns out to be an order for Renata. Yet the neighbors don't recognize her and insist that the apartment belongs to Kirill. Kirill then goes to Katya's place to check all the documents in the state registry, but finds no issues with them. The next day, armed with printouts from the registry, Kirill goes to a multifunctional center to prove that he is the rightful owner of his apartment. However, the staff informs him that he is not listed in any database and that the owner of the apartment is Renata. Confused, Kirill goes to the office to have his colleagues confirm his identity, but discovers that no one knows who he is. The boss tells him that there's a vacancy and that he can submit his resume. Moreover, Kirill disappears from all the photos from the party. Thinking it's a prank set up by Katya, Kirill furiously goes to his friend's place and demands that he stop this charade, but Katya too no longer recognizes him. Desperate, Kirill calls his father and arranges a meeting, but his father behaves very oddly, claiming he never had a son. He then calls his mother, but she insists he must have dialed the wrong number. In utter confusion, Kirill examines his documents and finds that all his photos and personal information have mysteriously disappeared. He returns to what used to be his apartment, but even the neighbors no longer recognize him. He demands that Renata tell him what is going on, threatening her with a kitchen knife. However, Renata refuses to give him any answers. Instead, she grabs his hands and stabs herself in the stomach with a knife. Kirill tries to explain to the neighbors that Renata inflicted the injury on herself, but a man knocks him out with a blow to the head. The scene shifts back to the beginning, where Kirill regains consciousness in a police car. After receiving another mysterious message, he follows the instructions and soon finds himself at a water tower near the Kremlin. He enters the dilapidated structure, explores it, and decides to stay the night. The next morning, the room has transformed to look like his apartment, and he encounters a whole and unharmed Renata. At the same time, a courier arrives with packages. Renata explains that the tower is a portal to multiple worlds and that Kirill has been fortunate enough to open the door to one of the most friendly worlds, Kimjim. Kirill insists he hasn't opened any door, but Renata reveals that the gateway opened due to his new game, and now his place is in the tower. She also tells him that the tower can fulfill any wish and suggests he change clothes, pointing to an empty wardrobe. Kirill concentrates on the idea of clothing, and indeed, clothes appear in the wardrobe. Renata continues to explain that Kirill is now a customs officer at the border between worlds and recommends that he review the instructions delivered by the courier. Kirill remains skeptical and tries to leave, but Renata reminds him that in the normal world, he would be an irrelevant criminal. Faced with this grim reality, Kirill decides to stay in the tower. Renata leaves him and, outside, calls a curator, confirming that they did not make a mistake about Kirill. Meanwhile, water begins to flow from a frame in the middle of the room, through which portals to other worlds are opened. Kirill looks outside and realizes he's in an alternate Moscow of Kimjim, a world untouched by wars and revolutions, still under the Russian Empire. Returning to the tower, Kirill starts studying the customs manual and then contacts Katya, meeting him anew in the familiar world. Kirill invites Katya to the tower and explains his new supernatural job. Soon after, Anna, who doesn't remember Kirill, and Anton show up at the door. They express their desire to visit Kimjim, and Kirill leads them to the portal. Anna and Anton touch the water and then exit through the door into the alternate Moscow of Kimjim, heading towards the White Rose Hotel. Kirill and Katya decide to explore Kimjim and are intrigued by its alternative steampunk reality. They eventually arrive at the White Rose Hotel, but are unexpectedly attacked by a giant Matryoshka-shaped robot. The Matryoshka robot attempts to reach Kirill with its long tentacles and fire cannons at him, but Kirill suddenly exhibits superpowers that allow him to deflect the robot's attacks. Frustrated, the robot flies off through the roof, leaving Kirill and Katya in complete bewilderment. Katya, who managed to record the events on his phone, shows Kirill the video of his incredible feats. Just then, red liquid starts dripping from the ceiling onto the screen. They head up to the second floor and discover a woman named Rosa with a slashed throat, who has also been attacked by the robot. She asks for water, and Kirill hands her a vase of flowers. After drinking the water, which has healing properties in parallel worlds, Rosa recovers and explains that she has been working at the customs in this world for 160 years. She was initiated at the age of 27 and will remain that age forever, as will Kirill in his own age. Rosa reveals that she was trying to save him from the robot and is very impressed that he passed such a challenging test. She then fills a bathtub with water and offers Kirill a bath to heal a minor scratch on his arm. Kirill complains about not choosing this fate, but Rosa explains that they possess a special gift. The curators have been observing them for a long time, and when they were ready, they were given their roles. Rosa asserts that Kirill is no longer fully human, is nearly invincible, and will soon forget all his loved ones. She then invites Kirill to use his power once more. With a touch, Rosa freezes the water in the tub and challenges him to resist. Kirill tenses up and, using his mental strength, melts the ice, astonished by his abilities. The next morning, Kirill looks out the window and discovers a new world. Moscow is no longer a snow-covered old city but sunny jungles known as the Sanctuary. Seeing the ocean right outside, Kirill decides to take a swim before heading back to the tower. Soon after, Renata and other commission members arrive for an inspection. Renata notices that Kirill has opened another door to a new world and warns him that he can only be at his strongest and invulnerable while within the tower. The farther he is from it, the weaker he becomes. Renata also tells him he cannot venture more than 15 kilometers away from the tower. She gives him a special medallion that will pierce his chest and take his life if he exceeds the allowed range. Despite this, Kirill decides to visit his parents, who live far from the tower. As he travels, his condition deteriorates, and his body becomes transparent. A stranger offers him water, which helps him recover. He eventually reaches his parents' apartment, where they work as university professors. He reintroduces himself as a student, and they have a pleasant dinner together. Kirill discreetly takes a photo of them for keepsake. In the evening, Kirill returns to the tower. Shortly afterward, Anton and Anna visit him again, this time planning to explore the tropical Moscow of the Sanctuary. Kirill is still in love with Anna and asks Anton about their relationship, but Anton claims they are just colleagues. Gathering his courage, Kirill decides to visit Anna at her job in the normal world. He confesses his feelings and asks her out on a date. Suddenly, Anna asks if they had known each other before. Kirill confirms they had, and Anna admits that she had a feeling about it, even though she doesn't remember their past life. Kirill and Anna go on a date, traveling through various worlds, and Kirill finally feels happy in his new life. After some time, Kirill and Anna return to the tower, and Kirill invites her to a party held in his honor at the White Rose. At the party, Kirill meets colleagues from other customs posts, including Felix. Felix shares that he has discovered 28 worlds and that customs officers are admired as long as they keep opening new worlds. He also tells Kirill about the semi-mythical Archon, which supposedly governs all worlds and that everyone aspires to enter. Kirill asks if it's possible to abandon his role and return to the normal world, but Felix says the only way to do that is to remove the medallion. However, doing so would lead to the loss of personal identity for most people, and in some worlds, there are special camps for those who defy the rules, even for asking such questions. Meanwhile, Renata is very displeased that Kirill brought Anna. Along with Rosa, they convince Anna that Kirill is no longer human and that he cannot have a family. They insist that Anna has no place in his world and force her to leave. Anna returns to the real world, where Anton's driver is waiting for her. The driver takes her to an unknown location, which scares Anna. She asks him to stop the car and secretly calls Kirill, but the driver destroys her phone. Back at the tower, Kirill receives a visit from Irina, a member of the inspection commission. She tells him that he must attempt to open a door to Archon. The door has not been opened by any customs post for 60 years, but it must be done, as Archon is a version of the real world that is 30 years ahead. This world can serve as a draft for various experiments to refine the main world. Kirill is unsure if he can open the door to Archon but promises to try. He then notices missed calls from Anna. He tries to call her back, but she doesn't answer, and he realizes she is in danger. Determined to help her, Kirill decides to go to her house, even though it is beyond his 15-kilometer boundary. Barely alive and looking skeletal, Kirill makes his way to her house and collapses in the snow, which saves him from death. The next day, Anton's driver, who is actually overseeing Anton, sends him on a special mission and informs him that Anna is no longer a concern because she has become a danger to them. Shocked, Anton locks the driver in the car and uses his powers to reduce him to a transparent skeleton. Before giving him any water, Anton demands to know where Anna is. Soon, Kirill receives a message from Anton asking him to find Anna, as she is in one of Anton's worlds. At that moment, a new door opens before Kirill, leading to Nirvana. In this world, Moscow appears half destroyed, and exhausted workers toil like they are in Stalin's labor camps. Here, Kirill meets a customs officer named Vasilisa. She explains that her world is where all who break the laws of other worlds are sent. However, an unusual pollen in the air causes people to find joy in their grueling labor. Among the new prisoners, Kirill spots Anna and, during a rally, secretly leads her to the tower. Vasilisa tries to stop him with her abilities, but Kirill proves stronger and manages to bring Anna safely to the tower. Finally, Kirill carries Anna into the tower, where he tries to revive her from the effects of the pollen. Suddenly, Katya arrives, revealing that he is actually Kirill's curator. Katya is extremely displeased with Kirill's numerous rule violations and, as punishment, restricts his movement range to just 50 meters. Kirill then takes Anna to the sanctuary, where he instantly transforms into a skeleton. However, Anna rips off his medallion, and he immediately recovers. They return to the tower, and while Anna is sleeping, a door to Archon unexpectedly opens before Kirill. In this high-tech world, Kirill encounters another customs officer, also named Kirill. This Kirill informs him that it is June 22, 1941, in Archon, and while in the real world Hitler invaded the USSR, in Archon he became an artist. The Kirill from Archon explains that his world is behind the real world in time but surpasses it in other ways. He reveals that all worlds, including the real one, were created by Archon and are used as drafts. All wars, epidemics, and disasters occur elsewhere only to ensure that Archon remains unaffected. After learning the truth about the origins of the worlds, Kirill says goodbye to his namesake and prepares to return to the tower. However, the Kirill from Archon tells him that he cannot let him leave now that he knows the truth. Kirill is then attacked by numerous Matryoshka-shaped robots. Despite sustaining severe injuries, he jumps into the water and quickly heals. He then finds a new portal leading back to the tower. However, Renata is waiting for Kirill at the tower and is furious with his actions. She informs him that she has moved Anna to another world. They argue, and Renata begins to destroy the tower from within, trying to kill Kirill. Kirill defends himself against her attacks and redirects them back at her. He demands that she return Anna, but Renata remains resolute. In response, Kirill delivers a knife wound to her abdomen. Renata loses her strength and collapses, causing the tower to finally crumble. As the tower collapses, Kirill's family regains their memories of him. Kirill's mother suddenly calls him, and he promises to come home in the evening. Meanwhile, Curator Katya arrives at the ruined tower and explains that without the tower, access to other worlds is impossible. Despite this, Kirill insists on finding other portals to locate Anna. Katya agrees to help him, as they also need the portal to save their main world. They set out in search of new portals, and firefighters arrive at the destroyed tower, dousing it with water. This causes Renata to revive. If you could create your ideal world, what would it look like? Share your ideas in the comments below, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.